Hello, friends. It's Lisa. I'm here with another video. We're going to do a Pitt Pen review. So, I've really been getting into mixed media lately, and I've heard a lot of good things about these Pitt Pens. So, I went crazy and bought the whole 60 set. So, here you can see the box. It's a pretty nice box. You can just leave the markers in there. That's what I've been doing. Do you need all 60 markers? Absolutely not. And we'll talk more about that in a minute. Here you can see, sped up the video because it takes a while, and you will see my niece who comes in and starts helping me. Basically, I'm making a grid and just to swatch out all the different markers. I found out that this is not the right type of pen to use um, for this process. So I would suggest instead of this Pilot friction pen to go ahead and use a Sharpie pen. It's the same ink that's in a regular Sharpie marker, it's just a much finer nib. At this point, my niece had come in and decided that she wanted to help. So you'll see her, she really likes helping and she loves doing art. Anything crafty, artsy, she loves it. So she's helping me. I'm just showing her how. She's 4 years old and adorable, and I live with her. So, so a lot of times when I'm doing art, she comes in and helps me. At this point, she was like, "I need to write letters. I mean numbers, because she has learned numbers. So I'd have to read out what numbers." So really didn't end up being the fanciest of swatches, but it ended up really cool. At this point, since I knew I wanted to use these markers with mixed media, I decided to go ahead and add a coat of gloss top coat gloss gel. So I went ahead and did that to two stamped images and that grid that we had. You can see my niece really likes to help, so, and she gets real angry if I try and help her help. But I went ahead and just covered those and let them fully dry. Also, my niece loves to clean, so you can see she really gets in there. I went ahead and swatched everything out. You really have to be careful when you're looking at the numbers. Sometimes you can make a mistake like I did, but I felt like there's a good variety of colors. I don't think that the numbers mean anything. As in, on the Copic markers, the numbers tell you what color family and kind of how dark it is. I don't think that they do that here, unless it's like a tonal scale, but I didn't really figure it out. Here you can see I had an issue. You're supposed to be able to pull the string and it kind of makes it stadium stacked. I was able to successfully do that once, and you'll see that here in a minute. And of course, it was after I popped everything out. I think I may start looking for a good way to house these markers and all the other markers that I use. Just this is really nice and it keeps them all organized and together, but it's not easily at your fingertips. You're not just pulling out the markers to use them. You know, like, oh, I need a green. There we go. You have to actually open the box, set it down, get it where it needs to go. You are supposed to keep them horizontal from my research. That's what I've learned. That when you're using them, you can, leave that upright if that works for you. But when you're storing them, they should be horizontal. So that's something I'm thinking about, as well as some of the other markers. Now I'm going to show you swatching out on this larger sheet. I did this when my niece wasn't around, not because I didn't love the one that she did, which I made to fit into that box because I had thought I was going to leave them in the box, but I decided I wanted a bigger swatch to really be able to see the colors. And in a minute, I try out going over that first color again because I was wondering if I could get like a darker color. I don't think it really works that way. You know, it might, I think it works like that if you're doing it straight on paper, but all of this is on a gel coated paper. So I think it's more like alcohol ink on UPO, where you put it down and it kind of wipes away the layer that was there before. So the darkest color you're going to get is that color, which is fine. You just have to know that. Something I really do like about these markers on the gel coat is it kind of makes the color luminous. I have another video today which you can check out on my channel or go over to my blog and it's linked in the same post, where I do a really cool background technique using these markers on a gloss coated piece of paper, and it really just looks amazing. I called it rainbow stucco background technique or something like that. It was a lot of fun. It was just a complete out of the blue try. I was like, oh, maybe this will look cool, and it did, and so I made a card out of it. But one thing you need to be careful of, because I didn't do it, I missed 4 colors, so I had to come back, and I put a little star where they go, and then I had enough extra boxes, but for some reason, something happened. You know what I'm saying. It happens. So it ended up looking really cool, and I tried rubbing it off. A little bit of the black came off. I, not the brown didn't come off at all. And when it's if you get it enough time to dry, it won't come off on your fingers. Um, I think the black just takes longer to dry. So here is where I'm going over those first 2 cells again. I really didn't see a difference in the second layer. It just doesn't really darken it, which is fine. Just, know that. So I really did like the variety of colors though. You have some jewel tones, you have some pastels, you have some earthies. You get a lot of different colors in this set, which I believe that 60 is the total number of just normal colors you can get. Do you need all of them? Absolutely not. I, especially if you're doing mixed media, I think you can get like 2 browns, a pink, just get the colors that you'd actually use. I decided to go ahead and do a trial. See the markers on regular paper, left, and see the markers on a gloss coated paper. Kind of see the different techniques, what works for one, what works for the other, and how do I actually want to use the markers. So you can see on the left, which is just the normal cardstock, you get a darker look. On the right, the one I'm holding up right now, you get a much lighter look. On the regular paper right here, the best way to do it is to put the light color down and then the dark color over it, and then you can blend out a little bit with the light color. On the left, the gloss covered paper, gonna be bad. I am bad with left and right. You can really do it either way. You can put the dark color down and blend it out with the light color. You can put the light color down first and put the dark color on and kind of blend that out. It you can you can try it out and it works both ways and you get a little bit different each time. So see on this orange flower, I'm putting the light down first and then I'll put the dark on top. And you just kind of get a fun look. And here, this one, the blues actually looked different. Like I thought the darker one was the lighter one. And so other than that, the packaging was a little disconcerting to me. Otherwise, I had really good luck with them. So here, I'm just doing some really easy coloring lines, lines of color, adding some highlights and some lowlights. I found I liked to add the dark first and then kind of blend out with the light on the gloss colored. One thing I love about the gloss covered is you can do some techniques that you just can't do on regular paper. So see, I'm coloring in around the edges, and then with my finger, I'm pulling that color out. So you get a very kind of faded background. When I try and do the same thing on the just regular cardstock, you can't do it. It doesn't look as good. I tried using the same color and it was too dark. I had to go lighter. Now, I had this extra piece and I thought, why don't I try my Copic markers? See what they're like. I would not recommend it. I The outcome is really beautiful, but if you have these sketch markers, the nib is very, very soft, which is really nice when you're coloring. It gives you a lot of good points. But you kind of worry about it on the rougher texture of the gloss. As well, one thing I didn't like about it is if you touched another color, you were getting a pull out of that color. And you can't really go back and fix it with the Pitt pens you can. So when I want to use it over like plastic, when I want to use color over plastic like paint or gloss, I'm going to go ahead and pick my Pitt pens. If I want to do it on paper, I'm going to pick my Copic markers as the winner. So here on the top, we have the just regular pieces of paper, and on the bottom, we have the gloss colored paper. On the left, we have the Pitt pens, and on the right, we have my Copic markers. This top right card is a card I had made prior with um, with the same stamp and with Copic markers, so I thought I would just pull that out and see. Now, my Copic marker coloring wasn't great. I need some more practice, but but I'm sure you can do a lot better job on just regular paper than I can. So, my overall review is that they're really good. And they're really good for multimedia projects. I loved how they came out on the gloss coated paper. I'm going to be using that technique quite a bit. And I'm not going to be coloring them just on regular paper. That's not where they stand out. My Copics, I'm not going to be using those on gloss. I just kept feeling like I was about to break a nib. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you'll go and check out that other tutorial I have on making a card with a special fancy background, but have a wonderful day.